Hello, it is Kim, and I am here with you on this Tuesday. It's Tuesday afternoon, and glad to be joining you. And yeah, isn't this the cutest little lipstick? It's so teeny. I don't even love the color that much. I just love the little teeny lipstick. I'm a sucker for packaging. I'll tell you that. Um, what's going on, people? I'm here coming to you from Berkeley, California, and ready to answer any questions that come in. We're going out live on StreamYard to both Facebook and the YouTube. Do I have something in my no? Okay. There was a weird shadow. I was like, there's something in my teeth. No, there's not. It's just a shadow. And yeah, I'm here and my normal organized self. Glad to be here with you guys. What have I been doing today? I have been trying to get some stuff done that I need to get done that I'm not good at. It's a very frustrating day when I'm trying to do things that I'm not good at, which is probably why I often procrastinate because I don't like working on things that aren't easy. This is a moral failing of mine. Something to put attention on changing that tendency, but it is the way that it is. I'm not getting any comments yet, so I see people supposedly you're not robots. Oh, look, there we go. Hey, Sylvia. Hey, happy 4th of July. I should have started with that. Thank you for reminding me. Sylvia, I do know it is the 4th of July, and it just escaped my notice while I was getting my little hustle to get online right now. I have no 4th of July plans. If that wasn't clear that I'm here this evening, I appreciate the holiday, but it's like the details of 4th of July in terms of like there's like what the holiday stands for, and there's the things that happen on a holiday. And the things that happen on 4th of July have never really been my shtick. So like I don't like fireworks. I mean, I like the visual of fireworks sometimes when it's like a really big, colorful, organized with music but like just like randomly blowing I was going to use the S word, but things up in front of your like that's just dangerous. I'm just not into loud noises. I'm easily traumatized. I mean, I guess a picnic is nice, but and like when I was a kid, there are like little parades and things. I don't know. I'm not, it's not that I'm not a patriot. It's just that I don't like explodey things and loud noises. Anyway, so I don't do much around this particular holiday. I might just be a bit of a spoil sport because I also don't love Halloween. I do like Christmas very much because there are gifts. And it's not even so much the getting of gifts, but the giving of gifts that I like. I don't know. I like shopping. Holidays that I have to shop for, I like. Anyway, I don't know how you guys feel. We got Beck here from Brisbane, so you're certainly not celebrating with the 4th of July today. That is not an Australian holiday. Um, and yeah, there we go. Yeah, generally I'm a spoil sport, aren't I? Sorry about that. Um, I what am I gonna have for dinner tonight? I'm going to make well, I already made my little like summer salad that I've been making. I'm obsessed with it. I put it up on Instagram, but basically I take a can of artichoke hearts in water, not the oil, and a can of hearts of palm, which I love. It's one of my favorite foods. And when I was like very, very, very low carb keto, they were a little too carby. But now that I'm like a little more moderate on my carbs from vegetables, I can eat them. So I just chop the heck out of drain them off and chop the heck out of those vegetables. I cook a, a, a green giant seasoned stir fry cauliflower rice in the little microwave just so that it's cooked. Throw that in there. I chop up some Persian cucumbers and throw that in there. And then if the red pepper looks good, I'll chop that up and throw that in there. And then I toss in a little bit of vinegar and oil, just a small amount, because all those, like the artichokes and the hearts of palm, are already very citric acidy. Not, they just have a flavor of their own. So it doesn't need a lot of dressing. And then I toss it up, I throw it in the fridge, and it's good for like days and days. So that's kind of my side dish for many days. I bought a tri-tip uh Safeway regularly, which is, so Safeway is like the not fancy market in my area. So that's like the equivalent of like Vaughn's or King Supers or things like that, depending on where you are in the world. And so it's not like the discount. It's not like Gobham. Gobham. What is Gobham? Grocery outlet bargain market. It's not the dollar store. But it's like sort of like the like mainstream. It's like where you go to get Heinz ketchup and Coca-Cola, right? It's not the like fancy store. It's like the mainstream store. Um and or Coke Zero and no sugar Heinz ketchup, right? Um and so they are frequently have sales on tri-tip. So we get that, and then we trim it up and we slice it into steaks. We don't have a barbecue here. We slice it into like thick cut steak, and then we do it in the air fryer, and it's delicious. So super easy. Sylvia says, not looking forward to our dog barking all night. Oh yeah. It's a rough time of year or it's a rough holiday with the fireworks for dogs. Really rough. And also, I think, something that needs to be understood. It's a rough night for people with trauma, especially our veterans who might have some PTSD from loud explosive noises, making it a stressful night for some of our people that we should be trying to protect. So, obviously, no, we don't know what anyone is going through at any time. And so be kind to each other out there. Um, and it is 112 here in Arizona. Oof, that's rough. Very rough. 112 degrees. It is never 112 degrees here in this part of California. So that's the beauty of it. Michelle says, I would never have thought of tri-tip in the air fryer. Yeah. So we get these giant packages of meat. It's like two tri-tips. And they go on the like they have like a sale price and an extra sale price. And the sale price is like $5 a pound, and the extra sale price is like just under $4 a pound. And they're like they're uncut. So there's a lot of the external fat on them. So you can trim it as much or as little as you want. And then you just take it, because a tri-tip's like a triangle, right? It goes thinner at the end. And you just cut it sort of across into whatever thickness steaks you want. You'll get some that are, obviously, because it's like a triangle, some that are very small, and then they'll get wider and wider and wider and wider. And then we just throw that back in the fridge to keep them. And then every night we just haul some out, season them, and throw them in the air fryer for like 10 minutes, depending on the size of the steaks. And they're done. And in those 8 minutes, it's the time it takes to put the rest of dinner stuff together, get out the silverware and the plates and the drink. What kind of drink do you want? And do you want ice? And, put the side dishes on there. And by the time everything else is ready to go, the steaks are done. So it's super easy. And we do that with both our two favorite cuts to get at Safeway right now are the tri-tip, and then we also get a cut called a cross rib roast that we really like. And we do it the same. It's a roast, it says, but we cut it up and treat it like steaks, and it comes out perfect. So those are our go-tos when we can find them, which is most of the time. Fingers crossed on that. They've been plentiful this summer or this spring and summer. And so we do those. And so that's kind of like what I've been eating so I'll take you through a day. Sometimes people ask what else. Nobody's asking a lot of questions, so I'll just take you through a day. I think people are out celebrating the holiday. So for breakfast, I might have egg bites that I've made, or like cottage cheese and fruit, or some type of like bread I've made, like the egg white bread and things like that. And then I have midday some like maybe some carnivore snacks. The chicken sliders are amazing. I am digging on those. They're like chicken Triscuits. That's what they taste like to me. Like savory chicken Triscuits. Um and then maybe some fruit with that for lunch. So lunch is very light for us. And then for dinner, like I said, we'll have a steak and a I'll make my little salad side dish or something like that. And then half of a creamy for dessert. So I'll make a creamy with my favorite right now is PE Science white chocolate macadamia nut. It's like very super vanilla-y with a hint of macadamia and a hint of white chocolate. It's good. And I'll make a creamy with that. So it's 100 grams of blended cottage cheese, so it's completely smooth. Uh, a scoop of that protein powder, and then I add a bunch of unsweetened cashew milk to that, and then I stir that up, and then I freeze that, and then that'll be like 2 nights worth of creamy. So I'll just process that creamy and take out about half of it, and I'll stir it with some really good with raspberries or blueberries, and then some whipped cream on top, out of a can because lazy. And then so one creamy will last 2 days. So that's kind of what I'm eating these days. If people wanted to know what I was eating these days, since I got back from the cruise. Uh, Sylvia says, I get those and cook them 250 until it reaches 140. Do you mean the tri-tip? Yeah. I like my meat cooked to about 115 to 120. So I'm a rare girl. And so so that's where I stand on on the temperature. If it gets to 130, I can still eat it. But it doesn't make very good leftovers. Like so I can eat it while like I can't if I reheat it at all, it's gonna cook it a little more and then it's done. So I can eat day of if it's like 130. 140, I'm pretty much not it's not for me. Like I'll do it, but there might need to be a sauce. So I'm a pretty rare girl. Um, Michelle says, I'm speaking at the Antithetic Baltimore conference next weekend. Yes, not this coming weekend, but the weekend after, right? Like, wait, yes, in like 10 days. Yeah, yeah. I'm like, did I book the tickets for the right date? Yeah, I was like, yeah, okay, so that would be this weekend. Not next and this confuse me sometimes, but yes, I am going to be there. Michelle, what do you hope I talk about? I still have time to 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 scooch topic, so let me know. Um, Rebecca says, yeah, the chicken sliders taste like a Triscuit. Yeah, that's the best way I can describe the texture. Um, all things keto with Kelsey. Favorite summer salad: cucumbers, tomatoes, basil. Basil's so good. Fresh mozzarella, salt, balsamic vinegar, oil. That's delightful and delicious and yummy, yummy, yummy. Um, Becky says, I have had 2 heart caths within 8 months. I present as heart attack, but my heart and arteries are perfect, like a 19-year-old. I'm 62. It appears it is from super high cortisol. Can't find out why. Ever heard of this? So, not a doctor, not at all. Don't know what I'm talking about this topic at all. I can tell you I do know that there are some brain I don't know if the right word is tumor, but I think it is the right word. There are some like, but not like cancer, but there are certain types of brain deposits or tumors that can cause chronic high cortisol. Is that Cushing's? I think it might be called Cushing. See, like not a doctor. I think it might be called Cushing's. But I would imagine they would know about that. Like that can be tested for. So, do you have like have your doctors I'm just going to try and advocate with you here, right? what have the conversations with your doctors been like? What I would hope the conversations with your doctors would be like here is, they came to me and said, "Hey, it looks like it's from chronically high cortisol levels." I would say, like, what could be causing that, right? You probably had conversations that went something like that. And they might, maybe they say, well, there are some conditions like Cushing's and this and that. Okay, what are all the conditions that are possibly known in the world that can cause high cortisol? Um, of those, okay, and then be like, okay, there's this one and there's this one and this one. Okay, I need to make a list. Okay, there are 10 of them. There are 10 of them, but there, okay, we got the list. Of these 10, which are impossible for me to have and why? So which ones can we eliminate? They might be like, well, this one can only happen if you have testicles. And you're like, I don't have any. So can't be that one, right? Or whatever. So gonna cross them off the list. Then you're gonna end up with some that remain. And then even if they seem unlikely, if they're at all possible, then you go down the rabbit hole on each one of those to determine if there's any chance that condition might be something you might have. If it is it treatable? Is it curable or treatable or manageable? So it's just this like this process of like paring down until you get to maybe something that might be workable for you. Silent Runner said, I'm sorry that you're dealing with that. Silent Runner says, oof, larger and larger aerial shells have been getting legal here. That sounds scary. Okay, yes, Cushing's tested for that and it's not. Yeah, yeah. Unfortunately, I don't know. But I would, if this is something that's coming up, you know, I would just keep drilling with your doctors, because if what you're telling me is you keep having to have these treatments for a thing that it then turns out you didn't need the treatment they gave you for because it was a false signal because of high cortisol. Is that what I'm my understanding? I don't know if I'm understanding that correct, but I would definitely sit down with them and say, okay, well, if this is going to keep happening, what is our plan of attack to make sure I don't end up with surgeries I don't need and treatments that aren't going to help me, and what can we work on here about the cortisol? There are certain things they can do about high cortisol. Obviously when it's at low levels there are things I know of, like, you know meditation, but it sounds like you've got a different situation going on there. But then there's other things that are a little wackadoodle that clearly I don't know anything about except enough to be dangerous, but to say, like, I know that insulin suppresses cortisol. Um so, and far be it for me as a low carb person to be like, let's just flood you with some insulin. But is there a management strategy that involves manipulating insulin levels that might have some impact on cortisol? Might there be something dysregulating your sleep to a degree that's causing cortisol issues, right? Like it's really about like starting to pull apart all the little details. But and if there's not a cure, then is there a management strategy that will keep you from experiencing the significant health complications that you're having to deal with? So, that's a real rabbit hole investigation. And I'm sorry you're dealing with that, Becky. Michelle says, I honestly love it. Oh, thanks. I love everything you speak about. Can relate to so much. Appreciate that you're keeping it real. Cree's presentation was a positive punch in the gut. Oh, good. Okay. Good. 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 I'm always like, after I do a talk or whatever, I'm like, that was a mess. And I go in really like enthusiastic. I think it didn't help that I had was losing my voice, and everybody was getting sick around me, and I was like, what's happening? I'm always like, I hope this comes across well. So getting feedback that it went well is always good for me. I think Baltimore is going to be a super fun event. I've never been to Baltimore. I Funny story. My brother is married to a lovely woman who I've known. They got together when I'm younger, and they got together in high school. So she's been in my life since I was a freshman in high school. And and so I've known her and her family forever. And she was when she and my brother were 20, her her mom, not her dad, her mom had a set of twins. So my brother was 20 when his sister-in-laws were born. So he's been in their life their whole life as well. And so they're twins. And one of them is getting married in Baltimore the same weekend as that conference. So it's one of those little small world things. Um, I was not going to the wedding. It's like a small wedding, and I'm a little bit too many steps out. Love them, love him, love everybody. But I'm like, oh, I'm in your town during your wedding. Anyway, um, Silent Runner says eating homemade ice cream. Just bought a 1 pint freezer. Almond milk cream, allulose, protein powder, vanilla, chocolate sauce on top, low carb, fresh batch every night. That sounds delicious. That sounds delightful. You know what's so funny is my boyfriend has always been obsessed with ice cream. Um, like when when I first met him decades upon decades ago, um, he worked in a coffee shop that had a little gelato rest place right next door. And so a lot of days for lunch, he would just have gelato. And did you know that gelato is lower calorie than ice cream? I always thought gelato was so much more of a, like a decadent high calorie choice, but like traditional gelato is lower fat than traditional ice cream. Didn't know that. Did you know that? I didn't know that. Anyway, but I was never, I mean, yes, when I went to Italy, gelato was like life changing, but I'm not that into ice cream. And it's fun here and there and whatever, but I've never been that into it. And then we got the creamy. And because I used to be obsessed with frozen yogurt when I was younger. It was a thing. 90s kids, you remember, frozen yogurt was a thing in the 90s, right? And so the creamy now, I'm just hooked. I am hooked upon the creamy. I love it. We have one every night. I tried to get my parents to buy one for the vacation house because we all share well, it's their vacation house, but we all use the vacation house. And I'm like, I don't know that I can go to the vacation house unless there's a creamy there. So I might have to buy another creamy for the family for the vacation place. But I got my brother, his wife, and their 3 kids a creamy for Christmas this past Christmas, and they said they also agreed it was life changing. So that's what happened. Apparently, no one can get a creamy anymore. They're sold out everywhere because now everyone is obsessed. It's the way TikTok works. All right. I'm just blathering on. Would anybody like me to discuss a topic? Cheryl just bought a mini dash ice cream maker. If I use Keto Chow, how much cream and other stuff is do I use? So depends, right? We all have our own recipes. As far as I know, you could make Keto Chow just the way that Keto Chow says to make Keto Chow and then freeze that and then use that to make ice cream. I make it with less. I don't use heavy cream in my creamy. One thing I have found that I don't like in a creamy is that it spins it so fast that it turns any cream in it to a little bit like almost like butter consistency, and I don't love that. So my creamy recipe is basically blended cottage cheese, protein powder, and nut milk. That's what I make. And so that's what I do. And whether that's PE Science or that's Keto Chow, that's just what I do. So like I just made a Keto Chow, a peanut butter one, which is 30 grams of, around. So 30 to 33 grams of peanut butter Keto Chow, 100 grams of blended cottage cheese, um, and then a bunch of uh did I have the cashew milk, silk cashew milk. And that's my recipe. It doesn't quite go to the line in the creamy, it's, like, just below the line. I like to leave a little space. Um, so yeah, that's how I make my creamies. Sometimes I use Greek yogurt instead of or to supplement the amount of cottage cheese. Just depends what I've got more of in my house. But anyway, the cottage cheese is a game changer in the creamy for sure. But that's mine is not the only recipe that one could follow. There are, but I certainly know people who just make a keto chow like they would suggest with the keto chow recipe. And and then we go from there. Yeah. Um, what else? I'm gonna yawn. Oh, I'm tired. I did put on makeup though, so I was like, let's just do this thing. I have here water and keto and element electrolytes in here. I had ice in here, but it melted to make sure I'm getting my electrolytes in these days. I noticed my calves were feeling crampy, and I was like, have I not been taking my electrolytes? We have a lot. I like my electrolytes. I think they're delicious. And I've got my vitamins here. Got my little vitamin. Oops, that was holding something up. Got my little vitamin case, which I like very, very much. My little packs in there. I have to actually remember to take them, but trying to be better about supplements. Janetta, is there another Unstuck happening soon? I am taking a short break from doing a Keto Unstuck program because I have some other work that I have to work on. And so I decided there's only so much of me to go around. So Keto Unstuck will be back, but I don't have another one scheduled probably the end of summer. Gal Pal, any thoughts on bamboo fiber? No, I haven't really heard much about bamboo fiber, so I don't know anything about it. I have had some thoughts about basil seeds. Do you guys know about basil seeds? So you might have heard of chia seeds, and you can use basil seeds instead of chia seeds. They act the same in terms of getting like swelled up. They have a hint of a flavor of basil, but just a hint. Um, and which is kind of nice. I like them. And one thing that if you're worried about oxalates, not that I think you should be if you're not already, but there are some people that are oxalate sensitive. And if you are oxalate sensitive, chia seeds are very high in oxalates and basil seeds they are not. And so if you want to do something with chia seeds, but you were not doing it because you didn't want the oxalate content, try some basil seeds. They've got like a really nice, very subtle basil flavor. Like basil has pretty strong flavor. This is very subtle. And they're very high in fiber. So, and they function in terms of like the swelling, like they swell up with liquid, just like chia seeds. Anyway, something to try. If you were going to try chia, if you were like, I love chia seeds, but I don't love this about them, that's just something I found out. And I got some, and I thought they were actually pretty tasty. Um, Roxanne says, any thoughts on thyroid and histamine mast cells? I have half my thyroid and gut issues, which seem to be caused by histamine issues. I would not say that I am an expert on histamine intolerance and mast cell issues. So I'm just no. I would be talking out of the side of my mouth on that. I don't currently have any strong thoughts on it. Gal Pal said some channels have made a flour. Let's look it up. Bamboo fiber keto. Keto Magic Foods is selling something called okay, accept bamboo fiber flour. Okay. So it is wow, it's a lot of fiber. In 100 grams of powder, there's 96 grams of that are fiber. Um, so that's a lot of fiber. Yeah, I've never used it, so I don't know much about it. But I've seen bamboo. Um, and it's basically wood. I mean, everything plant-based is on a spectrum. So I'm not saying it's like inedible, but like it's basically fiber, right? I mean, what is wood? Wood is fiber. I mean, somebody who's into plants would probably say it's not exactly wood, but it's not exactly not wood. Has anyone seen bamboo? It's very similar. It's like a grass. Like, where's the line between grass? I need an agronomist here. Anyway, so yeah, it's probably a lot of fiber. I have not done any experimentation. It looks like the picture looks like cocaine. It's just like this. There's a picture of just like white powder on a black surface. No, I've never seen cocaine in person. I'm simply saying from pictures. Anyway, just what popped into my brain. Um, I don't know, gal pal. It's just I don't know. All very weird. Why is it that white? Should it be that white? Bamboo is not that white. Is it bleached? Shouldn't it be like cream colored? Every bamboo I've ever seen is like the color of a manila envelope. Anyway, I don't know. I'm just have wild supposition at this point. Um, hey Donna, thanks. Yeah, I'm gonna have a good time in Baltimore and I imagine it will be hot. It's gonna be hot. I've been on the East Coast before in the summer. It's hot. And so we'll see how it goes. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things we have to look at when we have thyroid issues about, is a food going to be a good idea for us or not? And like I said, I just don't know enough about bamboo fiber. I literally just looked at one little internet thing right now. So I have no idea what that's all about. Um, yeah. Anything else? What are you guys eating for dinner? What's on your plates? What's in your agendas? Anyone not a party pooper like me and interested and actually looking forward to some celebration this evening? What else is going on in the world? Um, all right, guys. Well, it looks like maybe a bit of a slow night. So why don't we decide to wrap it up here? But I will see you guys next week. Next Tuesday, I will be live again and bring your questions. And I think that we've got a good summer coming up for people. All right, guys, enjoy your night. Bye.